Hello everyone and welcome to Melyn Talks 7.11 PBE Zyra changes, alright? First off, I know you guys are going to be wondering, a little bit of a disclaimer about the webcam. Wanted to make a video, did not feel like getting visually presentable, okay? So take from that what you will. So what is the change? First things first, alright? The changes in on the PBE for what is going to be patch 7.11 is this. Basically, that Zyra's plants are going to be squishier, but that you're going to have more of them, okay? So let's kind of get more in depth on what that means, as well as some of the context from 20th Century Foe, some implications, and some overall conclusions. That's going to be the relative outline of this video, okay? So, first things, roughly 1.5 as many plants in the early game. So, that's good. And, unfortunately, the plant health is getting nerfed significantly. Okay, so what that means is instead of being, let's see, how do I say this? Instead of being somewhere from 4 to 6, plant health is now going to be from 2 to 4. And those numbers don't really mean much. So let's look at it in a bit of a more clear manner, okay? Previously, on the right, you have the plant health, and we compare what we have currently, given my maxing order, and what is going to be on the PBE. Plant health really is kind of a weird stat to look at. So let's look at something a little more tangible. That is, how many auto attacks is it going to take to kill your plants? So this is pretty noticeable, the difference, right? Early game, your plants are going to now die in 1 auto attack with the PBE changes, and they're going to go down to go up to 2 auto attacks from 6 until level 11 when they go up to 3. So as you can see in both parts of this spreadsheet, is that late game nothing's happening to Zyra. In fact, we're not even getting. I don't think we're getting more plants late game either. This is simply an early game change. How big is it going to be? Well, we'll get into that later. So before I talk exactly about how I feel about these changes, let's go really quickly to some context from one of the guys who was, I think he was heading up the mid-year mage update for Zyra last year, 20th Century Foe. And his rationale is that basically that plants are annoying, and they want to change plants to be more meaningful both to the Zyra player as well as to Zyra's opponents. So with this in mind, they're trying to give her more plants, or they say more powerful plants, even though they're not actually more powerful. You're just gonna have more of them, as well as making them easier to kill, so it's less obnoxious to play against. And I think a very important quote he has is, "It's functionally equivalent to making the plant squishier and more dangerous." I think it's a bit of I think he's a little unclear on what he's trying to say. The plants aren't more dangerous, there's just going to be more of them. So I guess that's sort of more danger depending on how you want to interpret it. So I like where he's coming from. I would love if that sentence, "It's functionally equivalent to making the plant squishier and more dangerous," I would love for that sentence to go through. I don't feel right now like the changes are accurately accomplishing this. But I do like that their heads are in a good spot. So anyway, I'm totally scatterbrained today. What is the implication of squishy plants? So my initial worry was, if plants could get killed in 1 auto, what if 80 carries could quickly kill them before they hit the 80 carry, effectively making the plant deal no damage before it died? I did a little bit of practice on the PBE, special thanks to Cooldown for helping me do this. Or actually, I didn't do it on the PBE, but the point stands. I did some practice, and you can't actually kill the plants before they do damage to you, so that's fine unless you have like a ton of attack speed. Maybe I don't think it's really going to be an issue. How much attack speed are you getting before level 6 when they take two auto attacks to kill anyway? So initial worry, don't have to worry about that. Furthermore, I don't think this squishy plant nerf is as bad as I originally thought, because think about it. What is your early play pattern as Zyra in the lane? It's QW auto attack. So that's 1 damage from Q, one plant attack, and one auto attack. So it's still going to get Thunderlord's Decree even if the plant dies immediately after. And honestly, against good AD carry and supports, that plant's not going to get more than one auto attack anyway. Maybe two. Very, very small change here. One plant auto to a plant auto makes a very small difference. So what this is going to nerf, however, has how good Zyra is in untalented hands. And it's also going to nerf how good Zyra is against untalented players. Not to try to flame too much, but with the current plants that kind of stick around and do more, take longer to die, will do more auto attack, more plant attacks. It's very, very punishing against people who don't know what they're doing. So this change, it's kind of a change that's going to hurt you more at lower elos than it is at higher elos, or not necessarily even elo, but how good you are at Zyra. So I'm not too worried about that. I also think in this manner that Zyra's poke is not going to be nerfed. It's her all-ins that will be. That's not necessarily true. Her all-ins aren't going to be exactly weaker because you're going to have more plants. Let's go into that right now. Actually, this is a good time for it. So what's the buff, right? They're trying to get a trade-off, you know, squishier plants but more damage on the plants because there's going to be more of them. So what's the buff? The buff is that there are going to be more plants now. All right, so that is great. More plants is always better. That was one of the coolest things about the mid-year mage update with the Zyra rework is just getting a ton more plants. Well, now we're going to get about 1.5 as many plants early game. So what does that mean? That means your levels 1 and 2 are going to be stronger. That means your defense from ganks going to be stronger. You're going to be forcing your opponent to step on your seeds more. You're going to be stronger. So more plants is great. And they said very roughly about 1.5 plants. 1.5 times as many plants in the new PBE changes than Zyra on live right now. So that's pretty cool, and it sounds pretty exciting. I'm really looking forward to seeing where this goes. And if I had to really conclude this video, is that I'm a bit tentatively excited for how this turns out. It's going to hurt less experienced players, but if you really play a lot of Zyra, I don't think this is going to hurt very much, and in fact it may even help us. It's basically more encouragement to play optimally while nerfing suboptimal play, which I can always get behind as a one trick, right? I definitely like skill gaps between the highest performing player and the lowest performing player for a champion, and these little things that you can do to get more out of your champion are something that obviously appeal to me as a one trick, because all I can do is get better at my one champion, right? It only affects the early game, as we saw in the graph earlier. I can go back to it. Late game, plant health is going to be the same. No big issue. And also, one positive thing here is that if this is a nerf, it's more of a nerf for support than Zyra mid. Why do I say that? I say that because Zyra's plants are a lot more important for support than a mid laner. Furthermore, the more plants are gonna help deal with one of Zyra mid's biggest weakness, that she's exploitable to ganks. More plants is also going to help with her wave clear, which can be abused given her high mana cost, especially with the Q mana nerf a couple patches ago. So I think this is actually a very, very, very small step in the right direction of taking a little power away from Zyra support, but not as much power away from Zyra mid. Again, I'm not exactly sure whether these changes are going to be good or bad, but I'd say I am tentatively excited. All right, sorry for all the stumbling over my words this video. Thanks for watching, and may your enemies feel the thorns embrace.